Hello, everybody, and thanks for watching News Channel 8. I'm Dave Lucas, and here's what's making news for you on this Thursday, the 5th day of January. Investigators are out with a composite sketch of a suspect they think sexually assaulted a woman in Northwest D.C. Apparently, the man forced his way into the woman's car near the Verizon Center last Thursday. He ordered her to drive to another location where she was attacked. A man remains hospitalized in critical condition after being hit by a metro train. It happened about midnight at the Metro Center station. Apparently, the victim was trapped beneath a Blue Line train. He was rescued and hospitalized. And here's a good way to start 2012. For Pepco's chairman and CEO, it's reported the utility awarded Joseph Rigby a 3-year contract with a $105,000 per year pay raise. That after the Maryland Public Service Commission fined Pepco $1 million for bad performance. Brian, it's a little warmer outside. That's a good sign.
It is indeed, Dave. I'll tell you, that is kind of crazy this morning when we were talking low 30s and upper 20s and saying mild, but you can tell how cold it's just been. Hey, a good shot from St. Leo the Great in Fairfax, where we're actually seeing some blue. The clouds are breaking up from west to east, and it's going to be a nice looking day. Your hour-by-hour forecast, low to mid-40s this afternoon. Milder, lighter westerly winds, seasonal, right where we should be. I've got some even warmer weather on the way. Share that 7-day forecast coming up in just a bit. First, though, the news starts right now.
Non-stop local news for Maryland, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. This is News Channel 8.
It's good to have you with us on this not quite as cold Thursday morning, and we start this time in the district where police are asking for help in finding a suspected kidnapper. Investigators are out with a composite sketch of the man they think attacked a woman as she drove by the Verizon Center in Chinatown. For the very latest on the manhunt, we turn now to John Gonzalez, who's live this morning. John, good morning.
Good morning, Dave. Well, for a week now, D.C. police have been searching for this suspect who committed a real heinous crime here at the intersection of F and 7th. As we all know, a very busy part of downtown D.C., right next to the Verizon Center. Well, this morning, police have a sketch of the suspect. They tell us that at around 7:30 last Thursday, a 28-year-old mother was sitting at the light here waiting for it to turn green with her 15-month-old son in the back seat. That's when the suspect jumped in through an unlocked passenger side door, pulled out a gun, and pistol whipped the mother in the back of the head and then forced her to remove all of her clothing. He then demanded her to drive about 3 miles to the Petworth neighborhood in Northwest D.C., where he sexually assaulted her. All of this, of course, happened while the baby was in the back seat. Now, this is a week later, and still no arrest, and many of the women out here that work and live in the area still very alarmed.
It's a horrifying crime. I think, you expect because it's so busy down here that sort of thing wouldn't happen. But I guess, there's crime everywhere and you can never be too safe.
Now, it took this distraught victim a week to put together a good enough description for police to put out this description, this sketch, rather. Before then, police only had really a southern accent, a young man with a southern accent to go by. So they're hoping that now with this sketch, people maybe perhaps will recognize this guy. There was an event here, Dave, at the Verizon Center last Thursday, a wrestling event, WWE wrestling, 10,000 people at least. So police are really hoping that someone recognizes this suspect. Reporting live, John Gonzalez, News Channel 8.
Trying to find that break in the case, John. Thank you so much for that. There are developments to report in Arlington after an early morning police raid at the Holiday Inn in Roslyn. The drug bust netted several arrests. We'll have more for you on this story throughout the day here on News Channel 8. Observers are left to wonder what would possess a man to leave 2 young children inside a car in freezing weather while he goes inside a Walmart to do some shopping. Tuesday, Frederick police arrested Anisur Rahman for child abuse after he apparently left a 4-year-old and an infant in a car in sub-freezing temperatures. He, in the meantime, went inside the warm store. Rahman was inside for about 20 minutes while the kids were left to shiver in wind chill temperatures of 11 degrees.
The car gets cold pretty quick. It takes a while to warm it up. So just a dumb idea all around.
I think that's dangerous and unsafe, and I think anyone in their right mind wouldn't choose to do something like that.
Rahman was arrested and charged with child abuse. He refused to comment on the matter. The children were released to their mother. About a half hour ago, police reopened busy Route 50 eastbound in the South Riding community. It had been closed since 7 this morning after a tractor-trailer and auto collided. The car's driver was airlifted to the hospital with what were described as non-life-threatening injuries. These are views from the news chopper. 50 was closed to traffic completely at one point. Then a single lane was opened as Loudoun County authorities continued their investigation. Traffic was slowed in the area for quite a while, as you might imagine, at the height of the rush hour. In Northeast D.C., 2 people needed hospital treatment for carbon monoxide poisoning this morning, or exposure, I should say. The 2 lived inside the home in the 5300 block of South Dakota Avenue. Still no word on what caused the carbon monoxide leak or how those 2 people are doing. And investigators are looking into what sparked the fire at a Rockville warehouse. The building on Neville Street apparently contained lumber that had some sort of chemical on the boards. No one was hurt. No apparent danger to the environment as a result. Some Federal City political news for you now. D.C. Councilman Marion Barry is running for re-election. He filed to run for a 3rd consecutive term as the Ward 8 representative. Barry likely enters the race as the favorite, but this time he will also likely face a stronger challenge, as several other candidates, including his former spokeswoman, Natalie Williams, are also expected to run. Now, before his first council term, Mr. Barry was, of course, the city's mayor for 4 terms between 1979 and 1991. The new year means budget wrangling for many regional governments. In Prince George's, the money problem is a $125 million difference between revenues and expenditures. To close that deficit, county leaders are weighing spending cuts and some controversial proposals to try and generate a little more income. On the revenue side, there's a call to add more red light cameras across the county. And County Executive Rashawn Baker has said he will at least consider the possibility of allowing slot machine gambling in Prince George's to help close that budget gap. Well, you'll have a little more time to file your federal income taxes this year. The IRS has pushed back the deadline to April 17th because this year's tax day falls on a Sunday, and the following day is a holiday in some places, including the District of Columbia, Emancipation Day. Taxpayers requesting an extension will have until October 15th to file. The IRS says it expects more than 144 million individual tax returns to be filed this year. Looking at business news for you on this Thursday morning. Stocks opened mixed today. In trading, there's a live look almost 8 minutes into the trading day now. The Dow Jones Industrial Average had opened to the plus side, but it has now turned negative and continues to go that way. The benchmark is at 12,350, and that's down 67 points, a little over a half a percentage point to the downside. The NASDAQ is down just fractionally, not 2 points to the minus side. The S&P 500, though, down a little bit more and mirroring the performance of the Dow. The S&P is off, let's call it 6 points, and that is just about 1/2 of 1 percentage point to the downside in the early trading. We'll follow those numbers for you all morning long. The president travels to the Pentagon this morning to unveil major changes to military spending and strategy. Mr. Obama will announce the results of a review he ordered last spring. He's expected to talk about how the Defense Department will cut at least $500 million from its current spending plan. Strategy changes as a result will include a larger focus on Asia with a lessening focus on Europe. Also, the military will now not be able to keep its ability to wage 2 limited wars at the same time. Got Vote 2012 news for you now. Iowa was so Tuesday, and now it's New Hampshire and the first in the nation primary there next week. The 2 GOP frontrunners from the Iowa caucuses are in the Granite State, trying to put a little more distance between themselves and the rest of the crowded GOP field. Polls show Mitt Romney has a big lead going into next Tuesday, but Rick Santorum has the momentum after his razor-thin loss in the Hawkeye state. We get the New Hampshire update now from our Brianne Carter. She is live in the newsroom for us. Good morning, Bree.
Good morning to you, Dave. That's right. From Iowa's historic caucus to the first primary of the year, the attention is now on New Hampshire, where the current frontrunner has spent the past 24 hours. Mitt Romney currently has a double-digit lead over his Republicans, that according, of course, to the latest polls there. Now, New Hampshire is very familiar territory to the former Massachusetts governor, who just picked up an endorsement from Senator John McCain. Now, with his new supporter by his side, Romney is headed to South Carolina this afternoon, so the focus on New Hampshire turns to Rick Santorum. The senator is hoping to ride out the recent surge in support that he's literally cashing in on. He's raised nearly $1 million since the Iowa caucuses and is confident that he could win New Hampshire.
You know, we got the grassroots. We got the grassroots. We got people. You look at this. I mean, there's a lot of energy and enthusiasm. We feel very, very good about things.
Now, speaking out this morning, Senator McCain urged Republicans to pick a candidate, saying, quote, get this thing done as quickly as possible and get into the main event. Well, we are just 5 days away now from that New Hampshire primary, but we are still a long road ahead from picking a candidate. Back to you, Dave.
Brianne Carter for us in the newsroom this morning with our update. Bree, thank you. Still to come for you on this Thursday edition, a fond farewell to some citizen soldiers serving in the D.C. National Guard. We'll tell you where they are headed this morning. And a bit of a warm-up in our future. Meteorologist Brian Vandegraff along to talk how long we'll be in the 50s instead of the 20s.